Oh Jesus, this is loud. Hey everyone, my name is Yuuzai. I was born September 25th, and today we are going back into court for the last time this week. Except this is the first time this week. Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's try to finish the investigation for chapter 2. Baking biscuits tomorrow for food and consumer education. Damn, they don't even provide you the kitchen. Can't you do it at school? Giving you physical homework to do at home. I brought my food colors. Ooh, what's your color scheme for your cookies? While I read out this dramatic turn of events. I forgot I was doing voices. I just woke up. You can totally hear it.
I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that.
I wish we managed to find some clues as to what that speckled band might be. Hey everyone, my name is Misomi. I was born the 14th of October, and I am a senior. Hey, you're closer to Kaoru Hakaze than I am ever. Okay. Then, are you just practicing at home?
We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door.
He's clearly glaring at us as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute.
What is it?
Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go?
Oh yes, he's completely disappeared.
When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrists. I'm just packing my ingredients that want. Oh no, add myself. Ah, I get it. Okay, cool. Anything other than food coloring that you're gonna add? Let's look at. Oh, I can't pull the fireball. I can't do that. Seen that. Oh! That book on the top table there is really huge. There's a pen with it, too.
Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log.
Shall we have a little look through?
The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded.
You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. I want to add caramel, but the teacher says it'll be too sweet if I do. Well, if you reduce the amount of sugar in it, maybe then. Because caramel's just like condensed sugar, right? So just use less sugar in the main. Wait, but that. No, I don't think that will fuck with the cookie. It's just a dry ingredient.
Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank.
Presumably, that means there was nothing to report. I'm pretty sure I read that already, but maybe I didn't.
That door leads to the second-class area.
Earl writes like a founding father. It's locked. I can't open it.
No, well, that stands to reason.
This is around that time area, I'm pretty sure. It's like the 1800s.
No one wants to let the murderer escape.
I want to make chewy ones. I hate the hard biscuits. Okay, I don't know much about cooking or baking, so I can't help you there. Just Google it, I guess. I don't know, add more butter? Question mark? Gosh, she gave me a very stern look when she said that. I hope me reading all this isn't gonna make my voice any higher. I think I'm getting sick because my voice is lower, but I'm not gonna complain about that. This is like the opposite of a problem right now. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin.
Not our cabin. It's Kazuma-sama's.
Sorry?
Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin.
You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. Anyway, I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga has managed to uncover any new clues. It's okay, follow baking accounts on TikTok. I can do this. Yeah, I believe in you. Make sure to send a photo into the chat so I can see. I can't eat it, but I will spiritually be there to look at your cookie.
Yes, we should probably find him and ask.
Let's go inside, I guess. It looks like they're still investigating in here.
Yes, on that subject, I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga is unscathed.
What do you mean unscathed?
Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you.
We have to take pictures to do a review, so I'll definitely take pictures. Don't worry. Great. Looking forward to them. Oh, yes. I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. Last time I baked was probably 3-4 years ago. I made muffins for Gerudo, and I forgot to add anything. So they were the most plain muffins ever. And we just kind of sat there and ate the plain bread that I've called muffins. He might have some new information for us. You'd never know. Okay, well, let's save first. Never hurts to save a little. Let's look at what's in my court record, actually. I could, I already talked about this. Well, I can't do any observations. I can only look at the picture. I already observed this. Okay, suspect bang dangling from the ventilator grill. Alright, what haven't I observed yet? The bookshelf that's been tidied up. All of the books provided for the passengers occupying this cabin neatly arranged on the shelf.
They were all over the place when we first looked around, if you remember.
Oh yes, and you tidied them up, didn't you? That's it. Oh.
You have to look after the ship properly. Unruly behavior in the cabin leads to damage.
It really wasn't me who knocked them over.
Well, anyway, I feel much better now that they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy.
Chicken leg, sword, knife, body. So it's clear that these letters were written with the ink that was somehow spilt on the floor. And he spelled a Russian word for wardrobe.
It does seem to be an unambiguous pointer to you, Naruhodo-san, as you were sleeping in there.
But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelt out my name, don't you think?
Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Kazuma-sama would have written his last words, or word, in Russian.
Which begs the question of who did write it? Oh, we can observe the desk again. Let's look into the tea kettle. We haven't looked inside. Maybe it was poisoned, you know? This is where Cosmo spent his final moments writing in his diary.
1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks to be some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Looking at his writing here on this page, it's almost impossible to believe that he's gone.
Kazuma-sama left us a valuable clue in these words, I'm sure of it. We have to solve this mystery, Naruhodo-san.
We will! Obviously, can't let my bestie be gone. Oh, he was here all along and I just didn't notice. Well, I can look at the ventilator again. So this is the ventilator. This ventilator joins to Miss Pavlova's cabin.
Yes, that's right.
And just a few minutes before he died, Cosmo saw something emerging from it. The speckled band, as he described it.
If only Miss Pavlova has been able to shed some light on it. But she seems as baffled as we are.
Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though.
I'm not sure.
I know most people aboard would say the same as me, but there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Okay, now I'm gonna talk to this guy first and have him berate me. Where did it go? Oh, sorry, I just went to the next door cabinet. Why? Who gave you permission for this? Well, Seaman Hosonaga did. That new Japanese, was it? Later, I will roll him into a ball and throw him in the cold room. Whew, he's gone back to guarding the door.
I hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account.
He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him out for steak at Le Carnival.
That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san.
Alright, take a sip of tea before I'm— Oh my god! Dude, are you okay? Holy shit, this guy got beat! He's missing a lens! Oh, you're back. Inspector!
What happened to you? Your faces!
Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Made by a bear, maybe? When I told the captain I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fist and toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. It looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to.
Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin.
Yes, so I understand.
Oh?
I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Sherlock Holmes. I didn't think he was German, though. Ah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes then? We could tell you what we found. Yes, let's do it. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in a cabin next door? Oh, do you know who she is? Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case, at least. Oh? How? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? Oops, now I've definitely upset him. Man, this guy's getting his biases a little too wrapped up.
Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful?
If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job.
Oh, I see.
There is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh? What?
Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please.
What's in this new information you have, Inspector? Where maybe the vents can connect to another place? It's this. The Budia medical officer has finished his examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Oh? Kazuma's post-mortem report?
Kazuma-sama.
So, what was the cause of death? I keep hoping that he was just faking his death. But this really solidifies everything, huh? Damage to cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report.
His neck was broken?
Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So at first, I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Chicken bone, chicken leg. Nothing has been found as of yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark. Oh, I see.
All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck would induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left.
Poor Kazuma. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never agree to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? This guy trusts me more than Susato does. Okay, let's read the post-mortem report. I can't just present things then, huh? Male, Far Eastern, somewhere between 1 AM and a little past 2 AM. So we got about, like, 2 hours. Guesses were. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. The victim's neck was almost certainly broken as a result of strong blow to the area. No obvious external injuries or traces of poison. Jesus Louises. What is a speckled band? We are losing a lot. Doesn't really look like his neck was broken, but maybe just twisted. Someone just grabbed their hands and twisted his neck.
Oh, Mr. Shams was here. What, was he?
Yes. He seems to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have been bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now that you mention it, yes, just one thing, but he practically shouted it. "It's shoe polish!" was all he said. Shoe polish? I wonder what he meant. Was that the speckled band? It was when he was over there, about a piece of broken glass. Do you see? Oh, what's on the floor?
Ah, perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think?
Ah, yes, that might be it. But how could Mr. Sholmes know that it's shoe polish? That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Susato-san?
Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with very dark tan hue.
Dark tan? A sort of dark brownish red, then.
Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him.
Oh, does this mean that this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoe as they scuffed on the floor? That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you.
Oh, Inspector, you look exhausted.
Oh, no, well... I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. It was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You are his friends. The truth is, I seem to have a heavy head ever since I woke up this morning. A heavy head? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing too. We were poisoned. It was in the food. There's so much to unpack right now. That's all we can really see, huh? Spoke to him, check the grill, blah blah blah, check the bed, check the Russian, check the ink, check the body, double check the shoe polish. Ooh!
It really is such a beautiful color, this glass.
It looks whatever was broken. It was broken clean in two, but the other half is nowhere to be seen.
And there's this brick-colored mark.
Which is shoe polish, according to the great detective you seem to know all about.
I suppose it must be from Kazuma-sama's shoes.
Maybe, but what I'd like to know is, how can a detective be so sure that it's shoe polish and not something else?
Because he's a great detective, of course.
That's hardly a reason, isn't it? Yeah, especially since I had to correct him earlier. Oh, I can read this again? These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burya.
Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
So by bringing her pet on board, Miss Pavlova has broken the rules.
She called it her friend, didn't she?
Yes, although we don't know what form this friend takes as of yet.
I'm almost certain that whatever it is, it's inside the traveling case in her cabin.
A friend. There's more to this than it seems, I think. Well, trying to find that murder weapon. It's gotta be this chicken bone. Well, there's literally nothing I can do. I guess I'll have to go back into the hallway. Always gotta haphazardly save. Of course. Oh, hell yeah, that's the right move.
Ah! Look, Naruhodo-san! Seaman Stroganov is gone!
Strong enough?
The burly Russian soldier who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us!
Ugh, all these Russian names are impossible to remember. Chalala? Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. La 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 la, I did it the great... Oh. I did it the great detective way!
This caroling. I know that lark-like voice.
Well, never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us.
Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate.
Definitely, before that stringy knot crewman comes back.
It's Stronganov, not Stringy Knot.
Well, first, let's see if we can grab that cheese, because I'm almost certain it's... Okay. This guy's always in a funky position.
Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look!
Wow, you never know where he's gonna turn up, do you?
He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself.
Yeah. Tra-la-la-li-la-li-la, I did it the great detective way. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us?
Or he's simply in extremely high spirits.
Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew, when the yard bed more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky her luck was about. Excuse me? I solved it all and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes! Screams. What is it? Do you want to fight? Honestly, interrupting a fellow while he's singing, I was just about to reach the climatic finish. What, is he dancing or is he fighting? Sorry, I thought you were never going to stop, so I figured now is as good as any. Good time as any. I very nearly dropped to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away?
Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you.
Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in a study of the ship's log as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here.
Oh yes, the ship's log.
And did you find out anything useful from it? Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means to say there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... There was a murder. That's definitely worth reporting. You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
There's so much going on, he can't report it. Observe the other pages, and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman stands sentry in the first-class passageway, and he has an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes down every 30 minutes?
Nothing to report?
Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report.
Do you mean...
Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night which led to the seaman being absent from his post.
What kind of circumstances? What happened?
That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure that something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. When Miss Pavlova came in, there was a murder. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Sholmes Sholmes? Brilliant! I'm gonna go and burp instead of laugh. Excuse me. Ooh, ouch. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason, nothing more. Well, my friends, until our next encounter. He's still singing to himself. I can hear him as he wanders down the passageway. Is something wrong, Susato-san? You seem lost in thought.
It's just... well, I feel the same.
Sorry?
Ever since I woke up this morning, I've had something of a headache.
So literally everyone's had a headache.
A sort of continuous throbbing.
Oh, you too? Maybe someone came to was it Pavlova? Someone came and drugged... No, it wouldn't be Pavlova because she couldn't have drugged everyone. Someone drugged the meals at in the ship, and then tried to rob first class. But knowing that Pavlova's room was empty, trying to rob Cosmo because Cosmo didn't eat. He was still awake. Possibly. Hey, welcome back. I just did a minor deduction. I don't know if it's true or not, but that is my current theory. Going to sleep soon, and that is absolutely fine. You need your rest. Miss Pavlova's cabin.
be a chance.
What?
The Bradley sailor doesn't appear to be around at the moment. We can investigate every last inch of that cabin.
I'm not sure if we can go that far, but we could certainly do if looking around more. I'm sure we could learn something. So we're gonna break into Miss Pavlova's room. Let's go. Is it a cat? Is it a mouse? Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Suzato-san. Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things.
There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can.
That is definitely invasion of privacy, but I'm also going to be tried for murder. I'd rather be tried for invasion of privacy and lose than be tried for murder and lose. I suppose you're right, for Kazuma's sake.
Not just for Kazuma-sama.
What do you mean?
It can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when we get there.
Will we?
We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to.
Yes, we will. Alright, it's time to examine. Where are my eyeball? There's my eyeball. Alright. I mean, the punishment's less worse. Yeah, it is. Murdered or... This is also the 1800s. I'm probably gonna be put to death for murder, especially if I didn't do it. Okay, so usually when I do an investigation in Ace Attorney, I look at every useless thing to not trigger a cutscene. And then I will, like, check the things. But I don't know if we're running on a time limit, so I'm just gonna go and check everything that seems suspicious.
Naruhodo-san, are you there?
Sorry, I'm right here, yes. Why?
Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking.
I just want to read this out with you, but my brother's phone is so loud. Dude, that's such a mood. Sometimes I worry that my mom's phone can be heard from my streams, but I have noise gate on. It should be fine.
There's no place like home.
Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know?
Well, anyway, I'm not sure if anyone could fit in this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes.
I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in here, but no such luck. Well, I mean, there's a bowl of milk right here.
I wonder what this little saucer's doing on the floor.
Yes, it doesn't look like it's been dropped. More like it was put there deliberately.
Do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here?
Oh my god. What? A leak? It's a cat, guys. Or like something that eats off the floor.
Is this ship quite safe?
I'm sure that even if there's a little leak in the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship's gonna sink.
No, you're right. Of course you're right.
She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? Can we look at the grill? So this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin next door.
Yes, although what a foolish shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room.
Maybe. It's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupants of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm. Is there water or milk in there? We don't know. Probably water though, because we're on sea, you know? Milk's gonna go bad. So they probably only have water.
Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning.
That is a possibility. Anyway, last night, Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. My current theory is still standing. The books are knocked down, so I want to say we got through, like, heavy. There was something heavy going on. Like, turbulence on a ship. And then maybe it was an accidental murder, you know? All the books have toppled over together. Look, every single one of them.
Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled out too, though.
It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door. In Cosmo's cabin.
Perhaps. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase.
I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from the ballet company?
All right, son. It must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked him over in a fit of rage?
Not everything bad that happens on a ship is because of me, you know? It's definitely turbulence or something.
Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again here in 2. I don't like seeing them in disarray.
Aw, whoops, just stabbed someone. It was blunt force trauma, that's what we know. So, it could have been something falling on him, too. We don't know for sure.
It would seem this teapot is empty.
So the natural conclusion is that the Russians are very thirsty people.
Or because Miss Pavlova only came into this cabin last night. She hadn't had the chance to make any tea yet. I mean, it could be either.
It's definitely that they're excessively thirsty. I lay 1,000 to 1 on it.
You're rather obstinate, aren't you, Naruhodo-san?
Oh, I know, right? She's been tampering the evidence ever since, even though we're supposed to keep them not, you know, stuff.
I suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket.
Should we have a little look and see what's been thrown away?
Naruhodo-san! It's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know?
Those eyes, she's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. But she might have thrown out something important.
However, these are special circumstances, I think.
Exactly, we have no choice. Alright, we're going to the trash. There's hardly anything in here at all.
Oh, well, that's a little disappointing.
It's like you don't move anything while you're in the past rule. Yeah, or else the butterfly effect will start. There's just a few books on the desk, nothing else, by the looks of it.
Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied the cabinet for any time at all.
That's true. I wonder what kind of book she likes to read.
Let me see. Yes, I see. It would seem that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading. Books written in Russian.
Thanks. I think I probably already knew that.
It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo-san. Kindly remember that. Oh my, Miss Pavlova's case is open!
It's completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in here.
Yes, a friend that she has to keep secret.
Because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Budia. I wonder what kind of animal she has in there. And more to the point, where is it now? Oh, whoa?
Oh, what's that?
Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter-mile full. Full stop. Hard to starboard. Our hands brace for impact. Oh, you know what? This is where we're gonna see, like, when we brace for impact, the book's knocking down, probably. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out how gravity works. I would think you would find her diary there, but who would leave their diary in the room you ran away from? We found our friend's diary before he died, but yeah, I don't think she's unpacked her diary, if anything. I think... What the? Because she literally moved into the room, like, this morning. Like, 12 a.m. She probably just crashed, you know?
I think we're about to crash into another ship.
What? Oh.
I can't stand.
Suzato-san, hold on to me! Ah! Okay, let's look at the books. The books are probably all toppled. Suzato-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all?
I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san.
It looks like we avoided a collision.
I think
Yes, the ship has come to a stop.
Oh my goodness, what about you, Naruto-san? Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine. Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like... Oh, Inspector. Oh, God. I was scared that I was strong enough. I love the work of gravity, I know, right? It's so telling.
Inspector Hosonaga.
Is that you in there, Naruto-san? Unbolt the door, quickly! What? The bolt?
Look at that!
The door's bolted! Did you do that, Susato-san?
No, I didn't touch it.
Well, now we solved the locked room mystery. The room wasn't locked before. Well, that's strange. How did... And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again.
Naruto-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in?
I better tidy this place up first. Our violent emergency stop has solved one mystery at least in a very vivid way. But I knew that awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. Well, this part was short, but we're not even done the investigation. Ah. We're only on chapter 2. There can't be a part 4 in investigation, right? Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the boat. Oh, we're in trouble. You! What are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Oh, you both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine. Oh my god, my nose is so stuffy. Oh my god, same, bro. I think I caught a cold, but like, not sure. Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we're going to collide with another ship. Yes, it seems to be a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship head. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crews are running everywhere. This first class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment.
Oh, I see.
Someone triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Ever since the colder weather's in Singapore, everyone's been getting sick. How much colder is it now? This year in winter here in Canada, it's been warm for us, but this week it's gonna be like ridiculously like normal cold. Hosonaga got fucking beat up trying to convince the captain to let us into this other room.
You wicked intruder! Dressed in all black, you are the devil!
Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil's a first.
You opened my traveling case! How could you?
What? No, we didn't touch it.
That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector!
Yes?
Arrest this man! I know he did it! He is a criminal! It is not enough that he has killed a man?
Duh. And he stole away as well. A vixen promised not to steal chicken, do you believe?
Take him away! He's a trespasser as well as everything else!
Stowing away trespassing? Killing! She's right, you are devil! It doesn't look good, does it? A cell below deck. Throw him in! Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police! Wait, a cell?
Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do?
This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options.
This is terrible.
This is a real crisis. I gotta find a solution. Immediately. I think, do I just present everything now? Well, I definitely will not be snooping around anymore. I think I just have to talk to these people. Okay, well. I'm gonna talk to Hosonaga first, because, he trusts me. Got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean. Sorry, I was just so desperate to find a clue. I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face would be the least of my worries. I'm really sorry. I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I'll have to report to the captain at once. I really need some help here. I need a savior to rescue me from this crisis. Sorry, I'm just putting on a jacket. Okay, I think I need to... you know what? I do need a savior. I need a hero. One name, Sherlock Holmes. Why is he always in a weird position? Ugh. I'm wearing my jacket upside down. This is what I get for being cold. What the... What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? God, lip balm's not working, my lips are still dry. I'm so sorry for your loss. I have a whole tub of, like, Vaseline here that I used before stream, but I forgot to because I was drinking tea. Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 robos feels on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people's do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no. Well? Why were you hanging from the hook before then? Isn't it obvious to properly assess the weight of 20,000 rubles naturally? I wish to determine if it would so bend that conceited-looking hole on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I'd never know whether to take this man seriously or not. I want to hop on VC with you to read it with you. Not forcing. Maybe once I'm done, like, this chapter. I might as well just finish this. I'm near the end anyway. You again. The great detective. Inspector, I confess, I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What's to report? Speak! An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Budia. Are we finally getting our conclusion? Has been solved! By me, naturally. What?
Really?
Yes. I've eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So allow me to illuminate all of your mind. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction on this case. Sholmes is slaying in that tiara. I know, right? With the flower goggles. Need him to coordinate all my outfits. I am just but the devil in black, apparently. Anyone who wears a gakuran is a devil in black. Huh! You have solved it? Even Hedgehog understands the case. We all knew who was responsible for killing Student Boy this morning, when we found criminal in wardrobe. It is the stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it! The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside a cabin.
Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
The locked room. That is point.
The room was locked.
Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from the outside the cabin. My outfits are mostly all black and white, so am I a devil? No, only if you wear a Gakuran. In which I am. You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all.
What?
Oh yes, there's another entrance. The vents, right? An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We've never discovered one. Why, it keeps open-mouthed to you even as we speak. Among Us. The ventilator, man. The ventilator, man. The ventilator? You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Cosplay by just drawing a piece of paper and sticking it to my face. Gonna do that at one point. It's gonna do it. I'll draw a PN symbol or something.
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean? Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35, what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madame. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. The suspect is in this room, blah 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 blah, konahani wa... Mr. Sholmes? What are you doing? There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What am I about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold! What the? It was a snake! I didn't even think about that one. Put a paper with the Tibanis creature on it. Why is he dancing? Sholmes does what Sholmes wants to do. Allow me to introduce you all to the band. The Speckled Band. A snake? Indubitably. Why is Strong Enough not doing anything? Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Pray, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Hmm?
Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you?
You both see and observe with distinction. However, do you not think that is precisely the trap which the culprit wishes you to fall?
Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap?
How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I'm sorry, but young man who died. But that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me.
There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, the same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No.
She turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi? It looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little moment as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes, proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. I think this... Yeah, but like they never found traces of poison in the body. So maybe he was strangled? I think this wasn't a murder. I think... Wait, no, it couldn't be a murder because... Not in a murder. Yeah, I was like, maybe the straight constrictor, but it's not a constrictor. But also, this maybe wasn't premeditated, but there has to be a reason why someone wrote the fake dying message that the victim had. So I was like, it could have been an accident. Maybe he hit his head during the sea turbulence. But then who the fuck would write something on the ground after he died? Anyway, Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death is nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidence your inextricable link to the victim's death. So that could happen, but then we need to find out why. Someone wrote something in Russian. Cause Kazuma's smart, but I don't think he would write his dying message in Russian. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So, we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was that friend, with which you boarded this vessel with, was it not? As I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. It's not? And yet, that fact leaves us in quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tells of a speckled band, whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit the description in any way. Whoever's Russian on the boat probably used blood from his finger to make it seem like he wrote it. It actually used ink from the pot that fell down. Yeah, you weren't here for that revelation, so it's hard to see. Yeah, and the picture's in black and white because we're in the 1800s. But yeah. But then we have to figure out who went into his room and wrote something in Russian. We know the door locked by turbulence, so we need to know when turbulence happened. But the records of the sea records, they never reported anything about turbulence, so it probably happened after the murder. So probably around 2 or 2:30 up till this point. Up until we found him at 5 AM. What explanations can we give then, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No.
No, don't look at me! This has nothing to do with any of this!
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be a snake's slouched skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin, no?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Everyone just starts sounding the same after a bit. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appears that the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. Maybe someone was in the room with him. Yeah. There were definitely multiple people in this room with him. We just need to know who was in the room with him during the murder. Other than me, I was in the room as well. Well, my character. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change every time it sloughs its skin. A snake so dreadful we could only imagine it was found in the deepest depths of India. We got a second topic. Hopefully this one's shorter. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data which I have been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost but not quite imperceptible puncture wound left by venomous fangs will seal the truth. Maybe another day, haha, I need to sleep. I just remember, bro, you're right, it's like midnight for you now. You have school tomorrow. Yes, the vestiges of the snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend.
This makes no sense.
There's no point in feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incidents, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place of your Yuuz. That's right, you hid the evidence that links to your victim's death in that traveling case. 12-12, make a wish. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. Okay, see you, Miso. I don't know if you'll be awake for that one, but like, yeah, take care.
You don't?
It's telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his death. That was your signal, was it not? The sound that you had used to train your serpent friend?
To train?
Indeed, you put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone from such training?
It's not true!
Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs once. And its venom would course through its victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took your poor young man's life. There can be no doubt, my logic is infallible. Alright, time to break apart his theories. Thus concludes Erluksham's great detection of the speckled band.
No.
Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible! You solved the mystery! Amazing! Your great detection really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable, as the Russians say. I could have done it with one left hand.
Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes?
But of course, what is on your mind?
It's just, about your deductions of before. Some things don't quite make sense to me.
I welcome questions that's to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly.
Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You are well informed, madame.
And reptiles, don't drink milk. It's really only mammals that drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
No matter, no doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk is merely an example, the logic holds.
No, it doesn't, because it's over there.
Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Yes, so I'm not sure it would be really possible to signal a snake by whistling.
But madame, what are the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute?
I think perhaps the performers played the music in time with the snake's natural movement.
Oh. I see. No hands, no feet, no ears! These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless!
Now, you shouldn't say that, bro. Snakes are wonderful things. Snake slander. Hold on, I'll put a spoiler alert.
Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes.
There is one other thing.
We're just destroying this guy.
You have more?
Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in the cabin.
Then it should try harder. Just get good. Just get good so we can prove that you're a murderer.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake has gone through the ventilator to the next door of the cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this.
So I didn't have to do the dance of deduction. That's good. I'm too lazy.
I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh no, you don't mean.
Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deduction and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
I had a feeling this was coming. Alright, let's give it a try.
Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes! Right!
So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again.
What? It's time to dance!
You've done it again! Your handcuffs are gone!
Where did they go? Fear not, I shall see they're restored after our work is done.
I really wish you'd leave them off.
Now, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Featuring me.
Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. The whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself.
She has something to do with the murder.
Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain.
She does have a pained expression.
She does have a pained expression on her face.
Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
But you're not sure if Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then?
Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova.
Oh, it's definitely a cat.
Oh, Naruhodo-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound.
It looks like a scratch made by some sort of small animal. And fairly recent, too.
Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here.
Yes! Yes. When you recall those horrid events, those claw scratches smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night?
When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel with, was it not? As is suspected, another telltale glance. Without a doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent you see before us. No, it's a cat! It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hands was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they?
No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet or which claws may grow.
Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers?
We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer.
What's a picture of her? Cat, isn't it? Ah, look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away.
She's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she?
Yes, that's true, but personally, it's a little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we'd better take a closer look at this. Look at the little cat Miss Pavlova's cuddling here.
Oh, what a cute little kitten. It could vie with you, couldn't it, Naruhodo-san, for the blackest outfit?
A black kitten. And from the looks of this picture, at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attached to it. Yes! Without a doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear.
Oh no.
The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you?
Ah! Taka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind.
Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, the fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in the question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, the specimen's markings do not fit the description in any way. What explanation can we give then, pray? What was the sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No.
No, don't look at me! This has nothing to do with any of this!
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be a snake's slouched skin. Is that like, I don't know, pantyhose?
Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. Why didn't she just keep it in her fucking pocket?
If she just left it in her pocket, no one would even have to know.
Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Shone's specialty. He ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something.
I thought detections were his specialty, or making me believe that was a ploy too.
Anyway, I find it hard to believe that the skin of a snake.
In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Oh, is it the baton? Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but What is it? It seems to be so soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. And it looks like a handle at one end.
I think it might be a cat toy. This is sort of common in the West, apparently.
How is that a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it.
That sounds positively adorable.
Yes!
Yes! The thing that you are... Where's my OBS? It's trying but failing to conceal is, a cat toy! Precisely, and the true nature of a now infamous speckled band. And it was in this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it.
But why? For what reason?
My dear boy, there can be only one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator in the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat toy to incite the creature to return. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. A truly troublesome feline young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photography of your pet, Miss Pavlova.
It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up to the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she is so naughty.
Here we go again! Are we deducing it so we don't have to go to court in this game?
Moving along, we've come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have prized, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible... not venom.
What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body.
That's right. But Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned.
Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report.
Yes, I knew it was one or the other. She's more shocked about you being so nonchalant about it.
His neck was?
Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only the Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seeming strong enough isn't some immortal freak, you know. Sorry, it just looks so funny. Okay, I had to make a joke about it. The jury's out. Anyway, we have good authority on the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as a fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Yes. An examination of the deceased body will prove this cause of death conclusively. Our
autopsy doesn't say that. Well, not autopsy, our post-mortem report.
Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck somewhere. Or someone.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though.
Presumably, Taka didn't silently leap up on Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow.
I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that had broke his neck completely by accident.
Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it.
It's rather hard to believe Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man.
Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could have explained what happened? This is gonna be worse. Not if it was an accident, but also the Russian writing.
Yes!
Yes! An examination of the mark on the floor would prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark so prominently visible next to the victim's body is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of fact. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot at the point of the floor and tripped.
Please, no.
And by some dreadful turns of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life.
No. I don't know anything about this.
Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the fact is as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to victim's death in that traveling case. It wasn't a traveling case.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama's merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be! I refuse to accept it!
I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened.
But...
And this part of Mr. Shom's deduction is right. Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes.
Where, I wonder?
Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Somebody appears to have dropped 20,000 rubles here.
It hasn't been dropped, Naruto-san. It's been placed.
I'm starting to sound like Mr. Sholmes.
Stop trying to sound like the great detective. This is a wastepaper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have it.
Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in there. Oh, what's that?
It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen this somewhere before.
If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind playing tricks on you.
Yes!
That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that wastepaper basket. Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass piece, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely! We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly.
Oh no.
So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be? That part of glass object which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death. Should be found in a waste paper basket in your cabin. You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not?
I don't know.
I don't know, and that hushed Russian accent of yours will save you in this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What?
Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be... Is the bell part of her costume? Is it on here? Oh. Okay. Naruhodo. His name's Naruhodo.
Stretch.
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar. Excuse me. The very glass bell in question. The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young master who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka!
I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry.
That's so sad. At least I'm clear, but I lost my best friend to tripping over a cat. I miss him already. What a way to go. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night.
It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late that I haven't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands.
People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments.
She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
That's how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it.
Yes. And I had read the, rules on the wall. I knew I was not allowed Darka with me.
Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really.
So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was in there, he must be sleeping.
So at that point, you thought it would be safe to try to lure the kitten back again, by dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator into the adjoining cabin.
Darka always loves his toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return.
So the faint whistling sound Cosmo wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she calmed down. But then... I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out, and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. And afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Cosmo was. But then who drugged everyone? From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, Seems less likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping. The SS Budia is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mr. Asogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards?
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator.
Yet Taka is nowhere to be seen.
I must have forgotten to lock my case, and now she's disappeared again.
Gracious, that cat is insufferably restless as I am.
Well, he knows something about himself at least.
When I woke up this morning, I heard that young man in the cabin next to mine has died. I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back.
Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right, where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it? And where did it come from? What on earth is this such a dangerous creature doing on board the ship? Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Hirotsuko.
Huh? What?
What? That snake belongs to you? He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here.
Yes.
How did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Huh! We are at sea for 1 year. You want us to be long without a close friend? Without someone who understands?
Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better?
But my dear burly friend, a gargantuan venomous snake? Surely you could appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom.
Huh?
Hirotsuko does not have venom. He is harmless, very long, but very gentle. He's adorable, like Rani.
It's venomous? Venomless? I'll take a screenshot for my friends.
Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood, but once I feed him, you will see big smile.
And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose?
Huh! Like they say milk chickens? Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Hirotsuki eats mouse. Big fat round mouse.
Oh, so is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for?
Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food?
Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now.
It refuses to drink milk, it can't hear a whistle, it can't climb up a bell cord, it's not even venomous. What is he gonna end up with? How the deuces did something so inept landing a starring role?!
It didn't do a starring role. It was a red herring.
It's not my fault, I do not make up stories. My Pyotr school has nothing to do with this incident. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death.
No, what about the fucking Russian writing? The Russian writing? Hello? He had an instant death. There's something else we have to figure out.
Miss Pavlova. I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But
What are you talking about, Miss Mikotoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed to everything. It was a series of unfortunate events. An accident.
But the Russian writing?
I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
I confess, I was just intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on the matter.
Oh.
I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction.
A distraction?
I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable.
Not again. When did he do that?
Especially when they're in your wrists as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made it to our next port call.
You were Mr. Sholmes?
Yes, but I overlooked one important detail.
The fucking writing? Hello?
The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not?
Yes. Kazuma was my closest friend. I owned him my freedom, even.
In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. Who poisoned us? The truth about how you really died. About how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo.
So then, shall we begin?
Yes!
What should we ponder first? Is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside? Was this truly an unfortunate accident, or was it in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instant. But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into the cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident.
Wait! Let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that really was really what happened, does it? I am tired. It's only been an hour.
I'm gonna have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid.
Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident.
Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally the victim's death was no mere accident.
Yes!
The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor.
That script, it's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The words meaning wardrobe.
I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese in this case.
But
But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast.
That doesn't seem likely.
That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not.
Sorry? What do you mean?
Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor, and the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae, resulting in instant death. Instant death. Ugh. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't have possibly written anything, because he was already dead.
That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Asogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, if what Miss Pavlova told us was true.
What? So Susato-san has noticed it too, then. Putting the message on the floor aside, there's something else that gave the truth away. Another piece of evidence to prove that this was no accident. In other words... I actually don't know. I actually do not know. I'm gonna save because, yeah, I actually don't know. Remember somebody I couldn't have possibly been there. That was definitely there. The scuff? No. Proof that there was no accident. In other words, it's a...
Yes!
The ship log? Nope. The credibility, man.
If it was no accident, then what we should be looking for is one of two things. Either the absence of something you would expect to find at the scene of the accident, or the presence of something you wouldn't.
Most compendiously put, my dear madame. I see. I confess you, Ragger languid I see doesn't fill me with confidence, Mr. Naruhodo.
Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe you. Well, more than Mr. Soames does, anyway.
Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. Another piece of evidence that proves this is no accident, in other words. Should I just do the thing where I present every evidence?
Yes!
Okay, I'll do it, and then I'll just go back to my save. We're playing real Ace Attorney here. The lack of a person? Can I present a person? No, I cannot. Okay.
Yes!
Okay, it's not his diary. I'm really dumb right now.
victim stacked something, but there's a strong blow in the area. But the gang ruled it out. Not the ship log. Would it be the mark on the floor?
Yes!
It was the mark on the floor. Okay, cool. We're just loading it. Lol XD. And now I have a perfect score. I was thinking that, but then I was like, didn't we already discuss that earlier? Whatever.
There's this piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor.
But that's the glass bell that the kitten had around its neck. We already knew about that, all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic?
Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw.
What?
If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin?
I just thought it was just hooked. It was still hooked on the cat.
Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in the wastepaper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova?
Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged a scene to disguise the truth in order to cover up his or her own guilt.
Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Asogi's.
You are wasting time. Someone else was there? Duh, of course, we know this.
What are you talking about?
Bulkhead was bolted shut from the inside. There was no way in or out.
Oh, yes. Oh, we've already disproved that. Don't worry about it.
And only other person in the cabin was young student. When young student died was you.
Yes!
It's true. I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut in the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. And then, the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor for fear of becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Asogi really died. But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. A single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would have barely cast any light on the floor there. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice the fragment of the tiny item.
You all suspect me? Don't you?
Damn, even he has a voice? Seaman strong enough?
Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on the ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal.
So that's it.
You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth. Well, this is almost interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How could you be so sure? Oh, you are a great detective. You should know. Look truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me the killer can walk through locked doors? Neat. It's impossible.
He's right. No, we know it's not right.
But wait, I read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside.
Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel with not a gap in sight. No thread or needles or magnets could be used.
No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, sir.
Susato, how could you shift it onto me like that?
So seaman strong enough has a valid point. The cabin door could have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. What? I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it.
Yeah, with the alarm.
And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind have been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you?
A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside? Gravity!
One way does spring to mind, yes.
Do you really know what Mr. Stones mean, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, and so should you, because we've seen it happen.
Indeed we have. So would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside.
Yes!
Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and the things on it have toppled over?
That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before.
Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small object that wasn't fastened down are bound to fall over.
I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia, acting off the objects.
Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book anyway? Well, whatever it's called, the same force pushed over those books on the bookcase.
Also made something else in this cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door.
Oh!
It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then...
Flashback, so I'm not reading that. I'm gonna take a sip of water.
Oh yes! That's it! When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door.
Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inertia, if you want to call it that.
Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Asogi was killed...
Yeah, and all the food fell off, too.
The SS Budia made another emergency stop?
When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had been toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hands across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over.
Oh yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I?
Then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin. We could just test it out. We could just go back to the cabin and see if it's locked.
Oh my.
Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova?
Are you out of your mind? You say Budia made emergency stop.
It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room.
Oh, it is simple enough.
Huh?
Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm?
Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there? Telling you only to press the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. That sort of button, one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity.
Strong enough?
Wait, it was you? When a button is pressed, two things happen in the interests of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today.
Mr. Soames, surely it wasn't you who...
As I always say, a button has one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion.
He sounds almost proud of himself.
How dare you mess with the ship? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin door slide closed. So, what we must now consider...
Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, did the ship make an emergency stop or did it not?
You are idiots. Booty is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make emergency stop even in the middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo?
It's the headaches. We all were drugged. Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency has happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea.
Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes a theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night?
I'm pretty sure it's the ship log that, nothing happened in. But I'm saving just in case that's not it. Because, these silly games sometimes ask you for something not real.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganov, it's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ships, isn't that right?
That is correct. Why?
In the ship's logs here. This would be where you record the details of your duties.
What are you doing with that? That is mine!
You rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it in our care with a mind to return it to you later.
I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always.
The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write in the phrase nothing to report every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all.
Nothing recorded in the log? That is dumb, because nothing happened.
But if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you?
Indeed so. Which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m. something happened. Here aboard the SS Budia. Something sufficiently significant. To make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish! If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself.
Oh? Why?
Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anyone would slip through that, even if it happened in the dead of night.
Well, no. That's a good point, because we were all drugged! Come on, man! We've been saying it since the beginning!
What of the throbbing? Sorry? What do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it. Oh yes, I had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself ever since I woke up today.
Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected.
He's right, my head's been throbbing today, too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that has happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. And the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe and had those handcuffs put on me by that point.
Why did I wake up when all of that was happening to me?
Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you?
Oh, well, yes. Sorry.
The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on?
Well, Cosmo looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals.
So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dinner that was served yesterday evening, I take it?
Yes, in fact, I had all of that. Cosmo wasn't fond of chicken.
Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all?
That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant?
My dear fellow, does that not strike you?
Of course. We were all drugged.
Mr. Shumst, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken?
I do.
No. Really? Is that really true?
And the meal prepared by the passengers last night has been tampered with. Tampered with the addition of a sulfuric designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consume it. A sleeping drug? Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice a ship's emergency stop?
Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Shumst mean. What a far-fetched idea.
Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a sporific drug would certainly be impossible, unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What?
Mr. Shumst!
Well, seaman? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere.
He did an emergency stop to pick up Pavlova, right?
If you refuse to talk, there'll be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew and the captain himself would be hauled over the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade. Dude, he's looking super sus right now.
Please, no more. I will tell everything. I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe.
Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help. Everyone together. She threw away everything. Her fame in the ballet. Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night.
Yes. I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point.
Duh. We could not make all drug, how do you say, dissolve. Talk about heavy seasoning. At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boat. While all the passengers of the SS Budia slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of slumber-inducing potions the evening meal has contained.
So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used an emergency stop trick to lock Cosmo cabin's door.
But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so.
What? Of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have been eating their evening meal of chicken in their cabin, after which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug.
Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night.
Yes.
The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway, and so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find a door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, The culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point?
The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on floor, attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried to desperately hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused a ship's emergency stop procedure to lock a door. All told, a busy night.
But... I don't know anything about this. I'm just a little girl.
Speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we only trust what we see with our eyes. A laudable trait. What? I'm quite the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, yes?
Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt in the wind?
What accusatory cry of guilt?
Sorry, you lost me.
Proof of involvement, man, but you can't hear such a cry with your ears, no. You must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe its time has come. For one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, please.
With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes?
With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said, of those two prevaricators, yeah. Observation?
If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that someone tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Sogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of those two were there when we're there when involved.
What? I didn't...
We're there when it happened.
Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning.
Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows that someone was there last night when Kazuma died. It's not the marks on his face.
Chunky arms.
Oh, look at this! It's some kind of stain in an unusual place.
Yes, you're right. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken.
Ink. And look at the color, too. It's clear where this came from.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff, you seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there.
Yes, I don't know where the dirt came from.
So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain.
What are you trying to say?
It would appear that the significance of the stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Every time they say Seaman, I just think of the other word, you know? Used to be holy fuck.
Allow us to make it plain.
It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform.
And I think what made it is clear.
Indeed, it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo,
Present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure! Alright then, the evidence that proves what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is.
Yes!
Yes, it's just a photograph, and the ink shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform.
ink? A rather unusual color of ink, purple. The penny drops, at last. Now you see the significance.
The Russian word for the on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink in this exact same color.
If the ink had been dry, it couldn't have possibly stained your uniform in that way. Which means... You must have been present in the cabin, the moment immediately after the ink was spilt. All right, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in dead student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Budia do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel.
Beef, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talk. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet.
Beef, please, you must help me.
I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw student boy on floor. What happened here?
Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little fairy friend.
Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you.
The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Soki's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor?
Yes, that is right.
So after the incident, where the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers? Only to find out its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard the sound of something falling on the floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked, so she opened to look, and you already know what happened after.
There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Asogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why?
I already told you. When Nina opened door of student cabin and looked inside.
I was asking Miss Pavlova.
Well, Miss Pavlova?
Oh? Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared.
I'm getting shivers, but not because of the thrill of the scene. I'm cold. I am really cold.
I understand, and I believe you.
So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last? Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes? This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. Cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten, on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there is one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural.
What do you mean unnatural?
What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Well. Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck. Which part of this photograph print seems unnatural? I mean, they tampered with his body, so... whatever. His neck?
Yes!
It must be- oh, no. Okay, give me your advice. When noting a creature player, you help to keep your eyes open. You want me to pull out my eyeball? Use your eyes.
I think it's plain what Mr. Show means by natural, isn't it? The words written to it in a foreign language underneath his fingertip, surely.
That particularly crass detail was orchestrated by the culprit, no. I mean to identify another person, if you will, losing your footing yourself. Would you land as the victim has? What of your hands? You look like the sort of fellow who stumbles with regularity. This should be an easy task.
Why do I?
The fist?
Yes!
Okay, before we do that, I really have to pee, so we're just gonna go for a BRB real quick. Ah, welcome. I'm back. Not welcome back. I'm the one who's welcomed back by myself. Okay. Alright, if you really did fall into this due to this unfortunate accident, then this fist just doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yes, here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost you might say, as though he was gripping something. What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow?
Mr. Sholmes, show us, please!
Why, of course, my dear madame. Would I keep you in suspense? This is what I found.
Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle?
Yes, you're right, a crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us? It tells us nothing. Just double check. That's not a crescent moon. Nope, definitely not. And... nope.
Lol, Lexi, I can't read Russian. Our color from fame to newspapers concerning with fearsome Russian revolution. It reads, revolutionary, violent, Bolshevik flees Russia from Shanghai. Never lived. What? The solution is obvious. If he despises his beard to that degree, he only needs to shave it off. I don't know what we're talking about, guys. Yeah, I don't know what that thing is. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks... It looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Which one of you bitches has a crescent moon on you? Was it from the last one? Last evidence? Observation, miss. It's on these two, I guess. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue. And the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe. Find the answer with your own eyes. Oh, it's right on her.
Yes!
Miss Pavlova, on your ear there. I see you have a crescent moon as well. Ah! What? And on your other ear. There seems to be a crescent moon missing. The little link holding onto it must have broken, I suppose. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there's only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Asogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Asogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment where the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments?
Oh, no.
Angel? No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma? I'm sorry if you hear my space heater, it's just too cold. When I think about everything that happened yesterday... Oh, is this Pavlova?
It was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship, and then, when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after that horrible long day. Narika, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy. But nothing worked. Darka would have not come back.
Oh? What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh? I'm sorry. This is gonna be my last time dubbing Kazuma. I hate this! I hate this so much! I miss him already. Get it together. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
a young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin...
Just a moment. Sorry, but...
Oh, yes?
I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Of course, you're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
Huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina?
Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But, what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment.
I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice.
I see. So you've run away.
Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him? And it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait! I shouted, and then... Darka jumped out of my arms and down the young man's feet. And... as he turned around to look at me... I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why he did it. I was just so scared.
The captain was in on you, Vo! The captain knows!
And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me.
And that's when you went to fetch help? From Seaman Stronganoff, who was on duty out on the passageway?
I heard Nina cry out and thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said,
Help me, Bev. If you find out, I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go!
So you decided to help.
And that's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it, so that no one would suspect a passenger in the cabin next door.
Yes. I went into cabin and looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway, in wardrobe, still sleeping.
Right, that's when he found me.
So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway.
I closed wardrobe doors and put a strange paper sign. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Susato started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged young man's body to a good place and used ink that was spilled on to write on floor. I wrote wardrobe, so that person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find Stowaway. And tell me, what of this glass bell?
It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
I see.
But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half.
Then Angel went back to her cabin and I finished job.
By pressing the emergency button in the passageway?
Yes. Accordingly, the SS Burya did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolts on the cabin doors to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery.
There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova.
What?
Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you run away from your homeland, and it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? Is the captain a bad guy?
It was what he said first that made me scared.
What he said first?
What are you doing here at the time of night, Inspector? Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
He said an inspector was his friend.
Oh, yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard.
I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, I... May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It's just... doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know.
He was gonna wake me up.
What?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but... he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give up your secret away, then he wouldn't have done.
No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work's not yet done, it seems. There is one more deduction to make. What, another deduction? This one's obvious. He was just gonna wake me up. Yes. What action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whether the young man's gaze was directed? I can't even cry to my friends about this because she bought the game and just never played it. I can't just be like, I miss Kazuma. Oh, we were gonna tear the streets of the Queen's London together. Actually crying real tears. First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in that wardrobe, but still, that cabin has been my home for the entire voyage.
So this is how the cabin looked last night with Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama?
Yes, it's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. If there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manners of truth. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out even a little bit when you're following the gaze where it lands. So when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at?
He was looking at me. He was thinking about me.
The wardrobe. My wardrobe. I was in there at the time, of course, sleeping soundly. Too soundly. If only I hadn't eaten that chicken that was laced with a sleeping drug. If only he'd woken me up. Then maybe this tragedy would never have happened.
Take that!
Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly it may have looked as though Kazuma was gonna ring the bell cord. Yes. Yes, however. What is there directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe.
The wardrobe?
And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly.
Oh! Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Asogi's exact words last night?
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
Another opinion.
Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if, between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt.
Oh no!
Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had. Miss Pavlova,
I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did, and that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done?
I mean, at least not every chapter ends with a court case.
And so at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Budia was finally laid to rest.
What will happen to Miss Pavlova now, then? Once we have reached Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at the Scotland Yard. What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her? Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia, then? No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see. I'm sorry. Seaman Stroganoff? I wanted to help our chain angel no matter what. But I didn't think about you. About how you lost good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police.
That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Well, I'm afraid you'll need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yes, I did stow away after all. I couldn't really expect any different. So, you should get back to your cabin now. It looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it even begun then. To think that only days ago, Cosma and I were laughing together about how we tear up the streets of London. That seems like a distant memory now.
Bro, this is too tragic.
Oh, what's this? Is it someone weeping? Susato-san? Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned. Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack, you know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. I still can't believe this has happened. Can't believe someone's life can be over. Just like that. Susato-san. He had such grand ideas for this visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away. Just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much. Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say. Inspector. My duty was to see Asogi safely to Great Britain, but I failed, and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector.
And I'm free again now, at least. Huh? Shums, do you mind? I'm having a moment. We all are having a moment, and I personally, the person playing this is having a moment right now. Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo. What is the meaning of this? Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry. So I decided to restore them for old time's sake, shall we say. You are a stowaway after all. He thinks this is funny?
Mr. Shums. Fuck you. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Not at all, not at all. Oh, and though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you'll be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant. Was to be? In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Oh no, I don't care for me, but... Poor Susato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
But there's no one else with the necessity qualifications, Mr. Shums. We know of no other lawyer.
Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid.
Oh, but...
But anyway, the voyage to London still promises good month time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourself another suitable lawyer.
Yes.
Miss Susato?
Yes?
We're all grieving right now. But, do you think perhaps I might be able to do it?
Oh!
But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law? No, I'm not, but... I'm sorry, in that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But as I said, there is still more than a month before we reach English shore. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study. To learn what I must become... To learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain.
Mr. Naruhodo?
That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anyone could learn all of that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out! I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector. Every single day. Will you let me try? And if by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma. He said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit, too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Miss Susato?
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Thank you. So, what does our bespectacled inspector say? Are you serious?
1 lawyer and 1 assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No, it's madness! Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating. Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we are all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination. Speak for yourself! Besides, qualifications are no measures of man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary characters today with your own eyes, from the early hours of the morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion and despite the accusations of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector! After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything to make up for my shortcomings here.
Oh, thank you, Inspector.
If you excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next and how best to make my report.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I'm gonna try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer?
I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant, after all. Thank you. And, Mr. Naruhodo? I'd like you to take charge of this.
What? Me? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Asogi clan for generations.
Very well. I accept. I'll treasure it, always. So then, Mrs. Otto, it seems we'll be working together for some time come yet.
It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't give you a single minute of freedom. We shall find every spare moment with...
Excuse me, holy crap, why am I burping? I didn't even eat much.
We shall fill every spare moment with study.
Yes, that's exactly what I need.
But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask you, too.
Goodness. What is it?
Please throw me to the ground. 3 times!
What?
I should have never doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would have never done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, I was completely unforgivable. It was completely unforgivable behavior.
No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away and the cabin door was locked from the inside.
No! I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times!
That number keeps creeping up, doesn't it?
Please, you must. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it! Don't even think about it!
No, I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very well, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes!
I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed. When did he see that? I have assumed that it would be a form of Japanese wrestling.
Oh, well, in a way. It's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujutsu technique.
Apparently it's called the Susato takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. How beguiling. I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a somewhat accomplished boxer. There he goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you'd be so kind to instruct me on the technique of your arresting throw.
Yes, I'd be honored.
Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madame.
Oh, of course!
On me?
Are you ready? Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry.
Hiya! As you can see, you throw from the abdomen.
Oh yes, arresting indeed. And that's what you term the Susato takedown, is it?
Actually, no, that was the Susato squash.
In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Cosmo flickered in my mind. We're not done. We're not done with the Cosmo flashbacks. We're not done with the Cosmo flashbacks. Tears run down my eyes. Karuma? That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. Can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. God, he's so cool. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I cannot be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I believe that. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two. Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain, and I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what that was.
Check his diary.
But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London.
Check his diary?
But man, I am distraught. That was epic, but man, am I distraught. And then I gotta go and look up a little bit. The runaway room. Do I want to start a little bit of the next chapter? Yeah, we can keep going. I wanted to make it nice and clipped, but I want to, know what the next episode's about. Maybe I'll just look up, not a walkthrough, but a synopsis. There's gotta be a synopsis, right? Fuck. Okay, there we go. But yeah, that's Ace Attorney. Chapter 2. We did it. Let's go over to my, just chatting. Oh, I haven't changed it back from the holiday one. Whatever. Yeah, that was Ace Attorney Chapter 2. I see they decided to do a a game where you don't actually have to be in court to finish a case. I guess that's why it's a little different. I know we're gonna have juries in Great Britain as well, so I'm gonna have to be looking forward to that. Oh, I'm so sorry. There we go. I'm so distraught after Kazuma's death, man. Like, obviously the whole Bumble Rumble investigation part kind of helped, not think about it, but then, at the end, they really hit you heavy with it. For it all to be, it wasn't an accident, technically. Because Pavlova pushed him. Because she was paranoid. And while I get that she was paranoid, these actions, and she is a teenager, but, we're not gonna think about the morality of things. I'm not representing her in court, so I have that. I don't have to worry about that. I'm sorry if I'm sighing too much. I'm actually distraught. I cried.
I don't know if it sounded like I was crying, but I was actually crying.
Because I'm a weenie.
But, yeah. What's chapter 3 gonna be about? You think we'll finally make it to London? I am processing grief of a character right now, and I can't tell anyone because my friends might play this. Oh, I could write of the victim. I'll just tell them that I'm processing grief of the victim. That's it. But yeah, very interesting that every case doesn't end with a court case. Because, like, not everything does have to end with a court case, I guess. Hopefully we also do things that aren't just murders. Because I know, Ace Attorney, not everything was a murder. But, most of the things were murders. So, I'd like to, like, maybe represent someone in not murder. Maybe thievery or something like that. That'd be a little fun, you know? But anyway, yeah, no one's watching, but, join my Discord. And, I'll see y'all next week for chapter 3. Oh, but I'm doing ASMR tomorrow and on Sunday. Maybe Sunday. If it's not it, if, you know, ASMR doesn't work out tomorrow, it'll just be a regular thing. Alright, thank you for joining me. Goodbye.
Turn off the lights. It's coming.